Look, as an expert analyst who has crunched the data on cognitive performance, let me drop a hard truth. Kahit mag-overnight puyat pa kayo for the PRC board exams or finals week, almost zero information is actually being stored while you're grinding. Your brain's retention rate is currently suboptimal. You might think this is just a theory. Pero let's look at the evidence. Based sa real-time neuroimaging, ang cognitive encoding or yung pagbuo ng tunay na memorya ay hindi nangyayari while you're actively reading. The data shows no significant storage during the input phase. The breakthrough occurs the second you drop your pen and stare at a blank wall for just 10 seconds. This triggers a neural replay. Ang utak nyo is reprocessing the data at a speed that's 20 times faster than your conscious perception. It's like your brain is running a compressed backup script. If we apply this specific scientific protocol that I've mapped out, we can optimize your system to hit a 40x increase in learning efficiency. We are talking about converting raw data into long-term memory with surgical precision. By dedicating just 40 minutes a day for the next 3 days, we will re-engineer your brain's data processing architecture. It's time to stop studying harder and start optimizing your neural bandwidth. Let's look at the step-by-step breakdown bago natin himayin ang data. Let's run a quick diagnostic question. Naranasan nyo na bang umupo ng 7 hanggang 8 oras araw-araw? Exactly 1 week before the board exam, nag-highlight kayo ng bawat paragraph. Painstakingly organized your notes. At binasa ang lahat ng crucial variables ng 3 beses to ensure high-intensity data encoding. Umaabot na ng 4 a.m. Nanlalabo na ang visual cortex nyo. But you're still pushing. You're trying to force-load the information despite the massive cognitive overload and diminishing returns. Pagpasok sa testing center, mataas ang inyong confidence interval. Sabi nyo sa sarili nyo, sapat na ang data input na ito. I've optimized my preparation. Pero the moment you touch that test paper, nagkaroon ng total system failure. Nagblanko ang utak nyo sa mismong unang tanong, isang classic case of retrieval error. You're in the middle of the PRC board exams or a high-stakes final, pilit ninyong inaalala. Ano nga ba yun? Nakita ko na ito Na-highlight ko pa nga. It's right there. Nasa dulo na ng dila nyo. But your brain is giving you zero output. Then, pag-uwi nyo, you open your reviewer and then boom. Ito yun. You realize you knew the concept all along. Kinabisado nyo ito kagabi. The data was stored, but it was inaccessible during the crunch time. Ito ang ultimate point of frustration. From an efficiency standpoint, nag-invest kayo ng napakalaking oras at effort. Pero nung kailangan nyo na ang data during the critical window, zero ang retrieval. It's a massive waste of cognitive ROI. Dito na papasok ang maling hypothesis. You start to self-diagnose and think, mababa ba ang IQ ko? Mahina ba ang memory capacity ko compared to my classmates or colleagues? As an analyst looking at the neural data, I can definitively tell you, walang problema sa utak ninyo. The hardware is perfectly fine. The bottleneck isn't your storage capacity, it's your retrieval protocol. The core problem here is purely methodological. Pinipilit ninyong mag-input ng massive amounts of data sa paraang fundamentally incompatible sa biological storage system, ang inyong mga neurons. It is a classic case of a throughput bottleneck. May isang glaring reason kung bakit nagkakaroon ng total system failure during finals or board exams sa 5 cycles ng pagbabasa nyo. You were strictly stuck in input mode only. Passive consumption creates a false sense of mastery. Wala ni isang instance na sinubukan ninyong i-extract ang data voluntarily. In neuroanalytics, a memory protocol consisting of 100% input and 0% extraction is statistically guaranteed to fail. The moment you encounter a proctored exam, ito ang core principle ang ating audit today. To optimize your retention, we need to reverse engineer the very architecture of human memory. We need to look at the hardware's blueprint to fix the software error. Every time you encounter new information, ang brain nyo ay bumubuo ng manipis na neural connection. Think of it as a fragile thread of data. The initial physical manifestation of a memory trace sa inyong cortex. Pero sa simula, napakahina ng neural pathway na ito. It's essentially a fragile link. Look at the data. Around 40% of fresh information evaporates in just 20 minutes. If there's no immediate consolidation, it's high-speed data loss. Ito ang tinatawag nating forgetting curve. After just one day, 70% of what you studied is effectively deleted. Paglipas ng isang buwan, 80% degradation. Kaya pala, paggising mo bago ang board exam, feeling mo 7 out of 10 answers ay nag-leak na palabas sa system mo. Our strategic objective now is conversion. Kailangan nating gawing solid steel cable ang manipis na thread na yan. This is the core focus of the 5 protocols we're about to implement. We are moving from fragile traces to permanent storage. Let's be clear, yung paulit-ulit na pagbabasa at pag-highlight, that's just passive scanning. Para ka lang tumitingin sa kalsadang may baha, hindi mo pinapatibay ang semento. It creates an illusion of competence without actual structural reinforcement. I will now present the 5 scientific protocols following a strict optimization sequence. Hindi ito random tips. Each phase is a prerequisite for the next. If you skip the foundation, the entire architecture of your memory will collapse. Protocol 1, ang 10, second pause. It sounds counterintuitive, right? Bakit ka hihinto sa gitna ng flow mo kung hinahabol mo ang PRC board exams or final thesis? Well, science says efficiency isn't just about input speed, it's about neural encoding. Let's look at the empirical data. Noong 2021, the U.S. National Institutes of Health conducted a rigorous study involving 33 subjects. We're talking about controlled variables here, not just some random productivity hack. The methodology was simple but precise. Tinuruan sila in complex keyboard task. 10 seconds of high-intensity practice, followed by a 1-0-second micro break. Inulit ito ng 35 iterations habang nakamonitor ang kanilang brainwaves via magnetoencephalography. The results were statistically shocking. Habang nagtatype sila, their brain activity was relatively linear, kalmado lang. Pero the moment they hit that 1-0-second rest, biglang nag-spike ang neural firing. The brain actually went into overdrive. During the silence, this is the neural replay phenomenon. During that 1-0-second gap, piniplay ng utak mo yung neural pathway NG tasks sa bilis na 20 times faster than the actual movement. You are essentially compressing hours of practice into seconds of rest. Look at the data. Sa loob ng 10-second window na yan, the hippocampus iterates the information over 25 times. It's a high-frequency loop. Based on the study, the correlation is clear. Kung sino ang may pinakamaraming neural replays, sila ang may pinakamataas na performance output. It's not about how long you study, but how often your brain reprocesses it. Analytically speaking, isipin nyo na naglalabas ang utak nyo ng isang microdrone to scan the road you just traveled. It does this 20 times. Each pass makes the blueprint in your memory more high definition. This is how you transition from familiar to mastery. But here is the critical variable. And this is where most students fail. Ang 20x replay mechanism na ito is sensitive. It only happens when the brain is in an absolute state of cognitive rest. No input, no processing of new stimuli. If you reach for your phone during that 10-second pause just to check a notification or scroll, you've essentially triggered a data hijack. The incoming sensory input from social media overrides the neural replay. Instantly canceled ang process. The system crashes. Relatable. Diba? You thought you were just taking a break. Pero it turned into 20 minutes of doom scrolling. By the time you look back at your reviewer, the neural pathways you were building, they're gone. Na-corrupt na ang data. You're back to square one. Kaya ito ang implementasyon for protocol, bawat paragraph o key concept. Na maabsorb mo, close your eyes for exactly 10 seconds. Zero stimuli. Huwag mong hayaang ma-interrupt ang neural consolidation phase. This is non-negotiable kung gusto mong pumasok ang data sa long-term storage. Mistake ng karamihan. Tinatapos ang buong chapter bago mag-break. That's inefficient cognitive processing. Ang micro-pauses na ito ang nag-allow sa brain mo na mag-print na high-fidelity blueprint sa bawat incremental data point na binabasa. Pero remember, a blueprint is just an architectural outline. It's still volatile. Para maging permanent at hindi mabura during your board exams or finals. Kailangan natin itong i-render fully. This leads us to our next critical layer of information retention. Protocol 2, active retrieval. Ito ang pag-extract ng memorya directly from your storage sa actual exam room. Your success depends on your ability to retrieve data under pressure. Hindi lang basta passive comprehension ang binasa mo. To back this up with empirical evidence, look at this 2006 benchmark study from Washington University. Researchers analyzed the performance gap by dividing students into two distinct test groups to measure which method actually sticks. Let's break down the study parameters. Group Alt, binasa ang text ng 4 na beses, pure repetition. Group 2, binasa lang once. Then they closed the book 3 times to force a mental recall. In short, they utilized what we call effortful retrieval instead of just passive rereading. It's a short-term evaluation after 5 minutes, predictably. Panalo ang Group 1. Natural lang yun. The data was still fresh in their sensory buffer. Parang cached data sa browser na hindi pa nade-delete. Pero ito ang real kicker. After 1 week, the data flipped drastically. Ang Group 2 maintained a 61% retention rate, while Group 1 plummeted to a measly 40%. That's a massive gap in long-term memory stability. Ang irony dito, sobrang tas ng confidence levels. Na Group 1, they felt they mastered the material because it felt familiar. This is the fluency illusion. Akala nila papasa sila sa finals, but their empirical results proved otherwise. Why the discrepancy? Simple. Reading is just passive input. Parang nanonood ka lang ng light flowing through your eyes. Pero when you retrieve, your brain is forced to execute a search algorithm. You are literally strengthening the neural pathway to that data point. Ang hirap na to. That's actually the sound of your brain leveling up. In neuroscience, tinatawag natin itong long-term potentiation o LTP. Every time you struggle to retrieve information, physically pinalalakas mo ang iyong synaptic connections. Parang nag-gym ang neurons mo to handle heavier data loads. Look at the data points. Sa follow-up experiment, nakita nila na if you recall the data 3 times, babagsak ang memory loss from 52% down to a staggering 14%. That is statistically significant. 1/4 na lang ng original forgetting rate. Ang nararanasan mo, kaya real talk para sa mga nagre-review for the board exams o finals, kung inubos mo ang buong gabi sa rereading ng 5 beses ng walang retrieval, that is a low ROI strategy. The winning formula for maximum retention yield is simple. Read once, then recall 3 times. Here is the application. After finishing a section, isara ang libro, kumuha and blank sheet of paper and perform a brain dump. Isulat lahat ng maalala mo. Kahit 5 keywords lang. Strict rule, huwag munang bubuksan ang reference para ma-trigger ang internal search algorithm. Even if you feel like you're failing or wala kang maalala, don't stop. The neurological struggle itself, yung pagpiga sa utak, is what triggers the structural reinforcement of the memory. You're telling your brain that this specific data is vital for survival. Let's analyze a real-world case study. May isang professional na focused on a high-stakes certification. He was grinding for 3 hours daily, yet his progress was flatlining. In scientific terms, he hit a cognitive plateau where input significantly exceeded retention capacity. Total inefficiency. I instructed him to implement our recall protocols. The data was fascinating. Bumaba ang study time niya to just 2 hours, a 33% reduction in labor. Pero after 30 days, his mock exam scores doubled. We optimized his neural ROI. He wasn't studying harder, he was encoding smarter. Now, let's pivot to Protocol 3. Strategic timing. Kahit gaano ka-robust ang initial encoding mo, cognitive entropy will take over. Memory is a perishable asset. Sisirain ito ng oras kung wala ka in maintenance schedule. This is where we master the timing of the brain. Look at the forgetting curve. If you recall data at the critical decay point, yung mismong sandaling malilimutan mo na sana ito, the brain triggers a massive reinforcement signal. The decay rate slows down significantly. In the industry, we call this spaced repetition. It's the hack to permanent storage. Think of it this way. Isipin mo yung daily commute mo. You pass by the same billboards every day. But can you list them from memory? No. Your brain is on autopilot mode to conserve energy. Since hindi mo nire-retrieve yung data, the hippocampus flags it as low-value noise and deletes it. Your brain needs a reason to save. Pero kung biglang may construction fence sa gitna ng daan, your brain enters a state of hyper-awareness. Biglang mag-activate ang emergency processing mode because the routine was interrupted. Kapag nire-recall mo ang info exactly when it's about to be deleted. Nade-detect na system na mali ang prediction nito. The brain realized na mali ang assumption nito na hindi na kailangan ang data na ito. Ayon sa isang 2025 study na na-publish sa Nature Journal, itong prediction error na ito ay naglalabas ng matinding dopamine signal. This isn't just about feeling good. It's a biochemical lock-in mechanism for long-term storage. Hindi mo kailangang i-compute ang perfect timing ng mano-mano. Use spaced repetition apps tulad ng Anki or simple digital flashcards. Let the algorithm handle the heavy lifting of your review schedule. All right. We've established the first 3 protocols. How to create, extract, and maintain data. Pero may isang major bottleneck tayong kailangang harapin. Ang physical capacity ng mismong hardware ninyo, common scenario ito during board exams or heavy data analysis. Naranasan nyo na bang nagbabasa ng mahabang problem solving? At pagdating sa dulo, nakalimutan nyo na yung nasa unahan? Technically, hindi memorya ang main bottleneck diyan. Ang real culprit ay ang inyong working memory. Isipin nyo tong hardware limitation parang isang maliit na kitchen counter. Sa sobrang liit, pag nagpatong ka ng bagong ingredient o data point, physical certainty na may mahuhulog sa sahig. Protocol 4, we need to expand the counter. We need to physically upgrade the RAM of your brain. And yes, unlike what old textbooks say, pwede itong i-upgrade based on recent scientific data. Noong 2021, the University of Electronic Science and Technology of China conducted an experiment with 148 subjects. They utilized a specific cognitive training protocol called dual NBAC to test neuroplasticity limits. The subjects trained for just 20 minutes a day. Ang task? Multimodal processing. Sabay nilang tinatrack ang visual location ng isang square sa screen at ang audio sound na niririnig nila strictly in real time. Visualize this. Your prefrontal cortex is on overdrive, literally juggling data sets in real time. Ang ending? This rigorous neural exercise expands your kitchen counter capacity, allowing you to process high-level variables for the board exams without the usual mental crash. Pero as a critical analyst, kailangan nating maging objective. While long-term transfer effects to general IQ are still debated in the scientific community, ang data regarding short-term working memory improvement is consistently robust. It is an undeniable performance booster for high-stakes tasks. Practical application, search for dual NBACs sa App Store, maraming open source and free versions. Commit to 20 minutes daily before your heavy review sessions. It serves as a cognitive warm-up para primed ang system niyo for peak information intake. Protocol 5, the 90/20 biological rhythm. Kahit gaano ka-optimized ang hardware mo, may operational limit ang biological system natin. Ever wondered why your processing speed tanks by 3 p.m.? Fatigue toxins are literally accumulating in your synapses, slowing down the data flow. Look at the metrics. Ayon sa isang 2025 productivity analysis, NG75, 000 employees. The highest output individuals don't grind for 8 hours straight. Their sweet spot is 75 to 90 minutes of high-intensity focus, strictly followed by a true rest. This is the physiological gold standard for sustained brain power. Kaya, we have to sync with our natural biological rhythm. 90 minutes of high-intensity deep focus. Then, 20 minutes of absolute rest. Think of it this way. If yung 10, second pause natin earlier, is just a micro-drone for quick surveillance, then this 20-minute rest is your large reconnaissance plane taking flight to map out the entire landscape. In these 20 minutes, your brain is doing heavy background processing. Ini-integrate nito yung buong 90 minutes of raw data into your long-term storage. Crucial instruction: do not touch your phone. No scrolling. No dopamine spikes. Maglakad-lakad ka lang or just stare out the window to let the protocol execute properly? Systems check. We've established all 5 protocols. Theory ends here. Ngayon, ready na tayo for the execution phase. I'm giving you a 3-day operational blueprint para makita nyo mismo ang empirical evidence ng improvement sa sariling performance nyo. This is where we turn knowledge into actual cognitive gain. Day 1. Start with 20 minutes of dual N-back. If your head feels heavy, that's just the cognitive load working. It means your prefrontal cortex is evolving. Read 1 chapter using the 10-second pause technique. Afterwards, use the blank paper method. Isulat lahat ng na-recall. Then, picturean mo for tracking. This is your baseline. Day 2, strict protocol change. Huwag mong titingnan yung notes or yung picture mo from yesterday. Use a flashcard app to force an active recall. We need to stress test your retrieval pathways. Once the testing is done, hit another 20-minute cycle of dual N-back to maintain that neuroplasticity. Sa huling yugto ng ating 3-day blueprint, ito ang ating critical consolidation phase. Execute a 2-5-minute review using the pause method, followed by a standard 5-minute cognitive reset. After that, perform the final blank paper test. Dito natin isilang neural pathways para sa long-term storage. Analyze the delta between your results. Ang day 1 output nyo na baka 5 lines lang, tingnan nyo ngayon sa day 3. Halos punong-puno na ang page. This isn't just a simple increase. This is an exponential shift in your information retention capacity through data-driven retrieval. Ang main takeaway natin is this: cognitive efficiency is not measured by the volume of hours you grind. Sa PRC board exams, Mano finals week, success depends on how well you align your strategy with the brain's biological algorithm. Don't just study harder. Study with higher architectural precision. Imagine sitting in your next exam room. Instead of the usual mental block or cortisol-induced panic, the data will flow with high fidelity. You'll finally realize, hindi pala ako mahina or bobo. My previous learning methodology was just suboptimal. I-document nyo ang inyong day 1 versus day 3 metrics sa comment section para makita ng iba ang empirical proof. If this high-level analysis helped you Share this with your fellow reviewees and hit subscribe to Psychology Pilipinas for more science-backed cognitive hacks.